My name is Izzatul Binti Hadi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Syazwani Binti Jasni.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul and Balqis Binti Ishak.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi, my name is Aimi Syairah Binti Sukri. This company started as a sundry shop in 1946 under the name of Hapseng, which means unity and success. On 24 March 1976, Hapseng Consolidated Berhad was incorporated. Hapseng Consolidated Berhad is a public company listed on the main market of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad. It is a diversified group with 6 core businesses, namely plantations, property investment and development, credit financing, automotive and trading and building materials. The group's operations are predominantly in Malaysia with market preserve in Singapore, Indonesia, China and United Kingdom. On 2 August 1978, Hapseng Consolidated Berhad, which is previously known as the East Asiatic Company Malaysia Berhad, was listed on the KL Stock Exchange. On 1980, Hapseng Building Materials Sdn Berhad was incorporated under the name of Authentic Sdn Berhad. On January 2005, Daimler Chrysler Malaysia awarded Hapseng Auto Sdn Berhad the sole distributorship rights for Mitsubishi Fuso commercial vehicles in East Malaysia. On July 2006, Hapseng Star opened the state-of-the-art auto house in Bandar Kinrara, Puchong. On November 2007, Hapseng Plantations Holding Berhad was listed on the main board of Bursa Malaysia, and this is a little bit of background of Hapseng Consolidated Berhad company background company.
Let's move to management approach. First, factor to consider having a segment reporting. Second, type of segment. Third, identify the chief of decision making and its responsibility. Factor to consider having a segment reporting. They are nature of products or services, nature of production process, type or class of customers and method to distribute their production and services. Nature of products or services used by Hapseng is services, where we can see plantation, cultivation of oil palm and processing of fresh fruit bunches, credit financing, provision of financial services, automotive trading in motor vehicles, spare parts and servicing of motor vehicles. Nature production process refer to how their services and products are provided. Type of customers refer to how they classify their customers, for instance, based on geographic segmentation, on income, interest, and so on. And method to distribute their production and services refer to how the products and services are delivered to their client and customers. Moving to type of segment. Operating segments used by Hapseng. There are 6 operating segments: plantation, property investment and development, credit financing, automotive, trading and building materials. CODM. CODM is Chief of Decision Making. Chief of Decision Making is a person whose function is to assess the performance of the various segments and decide on allocation of resources to the segment. It could be a Chief Executive Officer or Chief Operating Officer or Chief Financial Officer and so on. Hapseng Consolidated Berhad consists of 10 members in Board of Directors and 12 members of Senior Management Team. They will be led by Thomas Corrap. There are responsibilities of CODM: supervise and assess the management performance to determine whether the business is being properly manage and also ensure there is a sound framework for internal controls and risk management are also the responsibilities of them. Need to understand the principal risks of the company's business, and they need to recognize that business decisions involve the taking of appropriate risks. Third, ensure that the strategic plan of the company supports long-term value creation and includes strategies on economic, environmental, and social considerations underpinning sustainability. Last but not least, set the risk appetite which the board expects. Management need to operate and ensure that there is an appropriate risk management framework to identify, manage, evaluate, analyze and monitor significant financial and non-financial risks.
I will presenting the third part, which is reportable segment. As we know, SAPSEN has 7 operating segments, which are plantation, property, credit financing, automotive, trading, building materials, and others. But not all reporting segments are required to be reported. How to know if an operating segment is required to be reported? First, we use the 10% threshold test. There are 3 quantitative threshold tests, which are revenue, operating profit, and identified asset. But for this presentation, we only focus on operating profit test. Operating profit is the absolute amount of the segment reported profit or loss is 10% or more of the greater of the combined reported profit of all segment reporting profit or the combined loss of all segment reporting loss. If the result is more than 10%, the operating segment is considered reportable, and if the result is less than 10%, the operating segment is considered as non-reportable. After applying this test, we can conclude that SAPSEN has 5 reportable segments, which are property, credit financing, automotive, trading, and building materials, and 2 non-reportable segments, which are plantation and others. Next, we use the 75% threshold test. After determining the reportable segment, SAPSEN should ensure that the total external revenue of reporting segment are at least at 75% of total external revenue of all operating segments. If 75% threshold test is not met, SAPSEN should identify any additional reporting segment. After applying the test, we figure that 75% threshold test has been met. Since the result is 92%, which are higher than 25%. So, SAPSEN does not have to identify any additional reporting segment. Next, I will talk about reproduced segment report. Based on table here, the segment report will be separated into 2 segments, which are reportable operating segment and non-reportable operating segment. And all of this computation is based on annual report of SAPSEN. Based on that table, you can see that the plantation segment and other segments are be combined and reported as one, since they are not reportable segments, which are they do not meet the 10% threshold test and 75 threshold test. That is all from me. Thank you.
So I will present about the conclusion, which are advantages and disadvantages of segmental reporting. The first advantage of the segmental reporting, which is respect decentralized businesses. For many businesses with many sectors, segment reporting is the best way to analyze the profits and losses for a sector. In a corporation that has many sectors, there is usually a person or a group of people that heads that sector. By segment reporting, the financial analyst is looking at the sector and the sector heads. That way, a financial analyst does not praise or criticize a company itself, but can remark on the leadership of that sector's president or sector company leader. The second advantage of the segmental reporting is accurate assessment. According to a FAR Financial Dictionary, segment reporting helps investors see the full picture of a company. But for most financial investors, and without segment reporting, they might only see the company doing well. But an investor may be worried that a company only is having profits in one sector and not having successful sector elsewhere in the company. Let's move on to disadvantages of the segmental reporting. The first disadvantage of segmental reporting is only applies to public companies. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) mandates that all public companies must perform a segment report. They must do this to respect the company's shareholders and investors. However, a private non-publicly funded company does not need to do a segment report. The Bell School of Business at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte outlines this issue. Although it does not affect various groups such as shareholders or investors, a company may have no incentive to perform a segment report. However, by not performing such a report, a private business may not see how much its sectors are making. The second disadvantage of segmental report is time and analysis. Although it is mandated by the SEC, segment reporting may be seen as a large hindrance of time. The Bell School of Business also recommends that segment reporting's benefits come through when a company compares and contrasts between sectors and between each year. However, this analysis could prove time-consuming and make it hard to qualify how each sector is performing, especially if the sector shares resources or capital among the others.
These interim financial statements have been prepared in accordance with the requirements of Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards (Mfrs) 1. Financial reporting and paragraph 9.22 of the main market asking requirements of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad and should be read in conjunction with the group's audited financial statements for the financial year ended 31st December 2019. Overall, the group profit before tax and profit after tax for the year is at 1.1 billion ringgit and 798.8 million were lower than the preceding year by 25% and 34% respectively. Accordingly, profit attributable to owners of the company and basic earnings per share for the year at 760.2 million and 30.13 cents respectively were both 35% lower than last year. Excluding the gain from the disposal of HS Credit Melbourne, profit before tax, profit after tax for the year would be higher than the preceding year by 10% and 7% respectively.
Accounting policies are the specific principles and procedures implemented by a company's management team that are used to prepare its financial statements. These include any accounting methods, measurement systems, and procedures for presenting disclosures. Accounting policies differ from accounting principles in that the principles are the accounting rules and the policies are a company's way of adhering to those rules. These policies may differ from company to company, but all accounting policies are required to conform to generally accepted accounting principle GAAP and or International Financial Reporting Standard IFRS or MFRS. The first accounting policies that used to prepare the interim report is depreciation. As we all know, freehold land is not depreciated. Depreciation commences when burial plants mature and when assets under construction are ready for their intended use. Depreciation of other property, plant and equipment (PPE) is provided for a straight-line basis to write off the cost of each asset to its residual value over the estimated useful life, except for quarry infrastructure, which is depreciated based on the production volume method. So the second accounting policy that used by the company to prepare the interim reports is inventories. Inventories are stated at the lower of cost and net realizable value. Cost is determined principally as the table shows above. The company prepared the interim report by using the second quarter of the year, which ended in 30th June 2020. So here is the interim reports that prepared by this company.
Next, I will discuss Part D, which is reporting period for the current and comparative of financial report for the second quarter using the tabular format. Based on table here, we can see that the current period of statement of financial position is at 20 June 2020, while the comparative period is at 31 December 2019. For the financial statement of profit or loss and other comparison income, the current period at 3 month end, which is April until June, and 6 month end, which is Jan until June, is at 30 June 2020, while the comparative period is at 30 June 2019. Current period of statement of change of equity is at 30 June 2020, which is Jan until June, while the comparative period is at 30 June 2019.
Lastly, a few amendments to standards were made by the company and are effective for financial year beginning after 1st January 2020, and it will be included in the interim report. Two of them are: first, Mfrs 16 leases, and second, Mfrs 137 provision, contingent liabilities and contingent assets. Statement of financial position beside show the effect before and after the adjustment. That's all from us. Thank you for listening and watching. Assalamualaikum and bye.